it down. Quietly, man.
In the previous episode, we took a good look at how powerful the various mist powers can be. In this video, we'll shift direction quite a bit and look at the ever-controversial custom heroes for the first half, and then the very cool new unit for the Age of the Ring mod, the Hasharin Blades. There's so much unique content for each of these kinds of units, with several of the custom heroes' abilities having been transferred over to the Hasharin Blades to make what could be the most unique stealth-related unit in all BFME since Vanilla's Thranduil. Now, regarding the custom heroes of stealth, I'll focus on just the one kind for the bad or the evil factions, the Easterling or Southron custom hero, as that one has some of the most interesting stealth-related powers in the game for either Vanilla or AOTR. It's the same kind of hero in either game, same class and abilities, etc. So this won't be so much a comparison between the two games as it will be a demonstration of what's possible. So let's take a good look at just what stealthy stuff custom heroes can really do. We'll start with the disguise ability. For anyone who has disregarded the custom heroes in Vanilla, you probably don't even know what the ability is at all. It's exactly what it sounds like. Your hero can select nearly any unit in the game as long as it's on the field in sight, and disguise as that unit until your enemy uses an anti-stealth power or you choose to attack something. While that custom hero has that disguise on, he cannot be targeted by the enemy at all. Needless to say, this can make for some very interesting dynamics for stealth, spying, and map control. We'll dig into all of this as the episode goes along. But how does this ability work if you choose to have the stealth ability as well? Here you can see the enemy human player's custom hero. You'll see him get the little shield experience boosts to level himself up enough to get the disguise ability, and then go into stealth when standing still. But then he sees one of my Thrall Master units and puts the disguise on, removing his stealth permanently as long as he has the disguise on. Here you'll see even my Arrow Tower cannot target him. He would have to attack the tower to remove the disguise, or he would have to go into the vicinity of a well to have it removed. Of course, if I had a special ability or a power, I could remove the disguise, something like Isengard's Palantir or Mordor's Eye of Sauron. Here in the vanilla game, it's one of Angmar's weaknesses as a faction that it has no stealth detection capabilities whatsoever. You would have to either have a custom hero of your own, or play in a team game to reveal your enemy player's stealth. In this demonstration, though, I used World Builder to give myself the well for simplicity and convenience. Here you can see that each of our custom heroes is able to disguise as one of our own units and not have ourselves given away to the other. He is disguised as his own builder, and I am one of my Thrall Masters. I cannot target him, and he cannot target me. Just for clarity, he'll reveal his true identity at the well. As you know, you will remove your disguise when you attack, but will your disguise be removed if you use abilities? Of all the unique abilities custom heroes get, one of the only ones to remove the disguise is the very little used Climb Wall ability. A custom hero gets a number of other unique abilities, so let's look at the Steal Money ability. As you can see here, I got lucky and detected Gollum with my well, so I'm disguised as him. I go up to my enemy's slave pit and boom, I steal his money and not remove my disguise. As an addendum, I never knew this before, but the Steal Money ability actually does steal resources. I managed to catch my resources drop right when the guy testing with me used the ability. That ability will steal more resources as it levels up too. I later tested the similar ability the Wildmen of Isengard have, and it works the same. Cool little detail. Using the Gain Experience ability also does not reveal your identity, so you could be hiding in the enemy's ranks while leveling up your own troops and he be none the wiser. The Coerce ability that lets you steal enemy units for yourself also does not reveal your identity. And then, lastly, the Attached Spy power does not reveal your disguise either. The key to doing all of these abilities successfully and stay disguised is to make sure you have your hero in guard mode by pressing the G key. Otherwise, he'll always move to auto-attack enemy units or structures. As you have seen, the disguise ability is a fairly powerful one if you want to go all out in stealthiness and not reveal yourself while still doing a good deal of stuff against your enemy. As mentioned earlier, in vanilla not all factions can reveal stealth equally, and this is one of the more frustrating ones to not be able to reveal. If you saw this kind of custom hero just sitting around your base as Angmar, for instance, which has no stealth revealing powers at all, it would be infuriating knowing he's doing stuff to you that you could see him but do almost nothing about it. Try it out on your friends! For a custom hero, revealing stealth is a much different matter than the disguise ability. But we'll start with what is the same. Like with Disguise and the Coerce ability doesn't reveal your custom hero when he's stealthed either. A rather nasty bit of business that. Your enemy will be looking all around for you then. As with vanilla Thranduil's ability to move while stealthed, you don't want to get too close to enemies. Being overconfident will get you in trouble.
Go forward! This way! Advance!
Using the Attached Spy ability will also reveal your stealth, so be mindful. And lastly, using the Steal Money ability will also reveal your stealth. All in all, as you can see, if you're really fixing on using a lot of abilities while remaining incognito, you clearly want to have your disguise ability handy. The stealth ability is not really the way to do it. That being said, if you want to just stay undetected as much as possible for the sake of keeping a close watch, but don't want to spend an arm and a leg on a bunch of abilities when going to buy a hero, let's look at some easy tips. One of the more subtle aspects to custom heroes is being able to increase their vision radius by a very large margin. When you go to make the custom hero, this is where you can do so, though high vision radius comes at a high cost, taking points away from other attributes. I doubt most players who even use custom heroes at all do this. However, it's such a cool feature to make yourself a relatively cheap, weak spy hero whose only real function is map control. Having so many abilities at his disposal to spy out the enemy's movements can decide a game in and of itself in the hands of a skilled player, and you can do this in both vanilla and AOTR. Here you can see a comparison between more or less normal vision range and much higher range. It's quite a difference, perfect for watching your enemy from afar. This is even more useful if you give him the upgrade to stealth while moving or to be invisible when standing still. Your opponent will be forever laid bare while you operate with relative impunity unseen. And here's a bit of a clearer comparison. Notice the radius difference in the radar. Tinkering around with the abilities themselves, I personally really like only going for stealth and spy abilities for a relatively cheap hero you can get out kinda fast. In this case, he has the ability to stealth while moving and to turn invisible, like the Mirkwood archers from vanilla or Pippin in AOTR, while also having the attached spy power. I gave him the bow and sword toggle just so he could always stay at a safe range away from danger while still being able to get some kills to level up, since he's a somewhat weaker hero on account of devoting so many points over to his high vision range. Because he can move while stealth though, none of the other powers are really even necessary past level 3 if you want a really cheap stealth or spy hero. A lot of players out there will completely shut down at the thought of custom heroes at all, even one just about spying and map control. Personally, I think it's one of the coolest features of the whole game, and I've always liked tinkering around with unique ideas. Something a little different from the same old, same old. As you can see, there are a wealth of great, unique stealthing capabilities with custom heroes you just can't get with other units, unless you play AOTR. Some of the custom hero abilities have been transferred over to new units and heroes in some really interesting ways. One of the coolest new units in AOTR is for the Haradwythe faction, a little unit called the Hasharin Blades. AOTR's Hasharin Blades are single units limited in number on the field of battle, but not heroic units. While they are limited, it is for good reason. These units are easily the most stealth-centric units in the game, requiring a great deal of micromanagement to use skillfully. While they are very delicate units, they have high amounts of damage, especially when in a group of several of them. Furthermore, they can be buffed by 5 sources in their own faction, stacking for very high damage. But this video will focus on just their stealth for right now. One of the more unique features for them is, when changing stances, they also change up one of their abilities, one for each stance. As you can see from their formidable abilities, they also can put on a disguise like the custom heroes explored earlier. It works the same way, allowing you great access to the enemy's base, especially given you can have 5 on the field at one time. Here's a demonstration I did with someone online, so you get a great idea of how it works in PvP games. You can see how our units can fight like normal. Notice that I can target him beforehand, of course, but once he puts the disguise on, even right next to me, suddenly I can no longer target him, regardless of how close we get to each other. He would have to attack me to remove the disguise. Naturally, a de-stealth power would also do the trick to remove the disguise, or a well. I'm not quite sure exactly what you were supposed to look like to AI when disguised, either as one of their units or just stealth, but given how AI can always detect you in stealth, I would assume you look like just another unit. Because this is what it's like when you use your disguise in their midst. As you can see, they stop attacking. Far more effective than stealth. And this works this way either against creeps or normal player AI, by the way. Naturally, wells remove the disguise. Like with the custom heroes of stealth, you can also disguise as your own units and fool the enemy. just don't get too cocky. Even if you're in guard mode, being super close to the enemy will cause your unit to auto-attack. Now, do any of the Blades' abilities remove their disguise? Having covered this with the custom heroes of stealth, it's only proper to do so with the Blades. Something rather unusual, you can kinda bring your enemy out of disguise with Bombard, though he doesn't come out so much as just auto-attacks, though you can target him for a brief second while he's coming in to attack you. But if he's watching carefully and keeps this from happening to his blade, he will stay in the disguise, and your ability to target him will disappear. So you'd have to keep playing this weird game of luring him into an attack if you don't have a de-stealth power. Here I've already disguised the blade of King Dane. I then put him in stealth, but neither is the disguise gone, but he's also not in stealth. Now, not necessary obviously, but he does get the added damage from his stealth ability. So this is useful to disguise until up close, and then BAM! And as you can see, using the poison ability while in disguise also does not remove the disguise. These guys keep getting better and better. What about the thrown knife ability? Nope, still in disguise. What about the smoke bomb? Nope, not that one either. Still in disguise.
Obedience. Death. You cannot hide.
How about the mirages? No, not even that one. And the last one, the teleport?
We must protect our own.
Nope. So none of their abilities remove their disguise. Quite impressive. This unit is crazy. I mean, he can do so much in infiltrating the enemy's base. Unbelievable. So let's move on to his actual stealth ability. While stealth lasts just a short time, it is worthwhile to explore whether anything does remove it. So let's take a look. Teleport was used, but does not remove stealth. The blades are also not revealed by their mirages. Though the mirages are not stealthed, they can really come in handy even more to distract your enemies whilst the blade sneaks deeper into enemy territory unseen. Now their smoke bombs work in a rather unique way. Rather than cause the blades to be stealthed in the traditional way that we understand, they instead severely limit the targeting capacities of AI that are in the smoke, including arrow towers. Notice the troops down below stop targeting them and turn away, and the arrow tower can still target from specific distances but not others. However, this works differently for players.
Leave no tracks.
We all know how troops will auto-target from a short distance, like here.
To your places. Our structures are being attacked. Another volley.
Human players' arrow towers are actually disabled, though certain ones like the dwarves can still upgrade, while that player's troops will still be able to target him, but don't auto-target him. The Dalish archers here would normally have started to target him by this point on their own. Instead, I had to manually target the blade. The poison is useful for shutting down resource production in farms, mines, etc. It should be noted, though, that special abilities they may have, like the collapse mine ability for the dwarves, will be disabled too, but the enemy will still be able to de-garrison units like normal. So if you send in the max of 5 blades into an enemy base, you can really put a freeze on his economy by hitting multiple resource structures all at once.
Enemy crosses into our lands.
They will suffer.
You can also see it disables unit production structures. This AI should have been pumping out units by this point, but it is not. And of course, like its name implies, it poisons units around it. Nice little touch to keep enemies at bay while you're sneaking about. You'll notice, by the way, that this is one of the rare examples where AI actually stopped targeting my stealthed unit. Sometimes stealth really does work on them, but don't count on it. And you can clearly see my structure cannot produce units either.
Our lands are under attack.
And what about the teleportation ability? Now we come to some interesting combos. Teleporting away from danger is a handy feature, but not all that interesting. Teleport is made to be used in conjunction with the other abilities, like here with stealth and the smoke bombs. My enemy thinks himself safe in his little fort with all its arrow towers, but think again. You'll notice one of the drawbacks to the teleport ability is I cannot select multiple blades, then hotkey the ability and have them all teleport at the same time. I think this is a bug because you can do this with the dwarves, Eredluin Rangers. It really puts a cramp in your style, needless to say, because then you'd have to hotkey up each individual blade first. Hopefully this gets fixed next patch. Here you can see me using a another stealth unit, Baruthiel's Cat, to get the lay of the land to plan a stealth strike. These cats are actually pretty cool little units, by the way. You can have several of them, and just use them in guard mode in key areas as free spies. They cost no resources and not even CP, and they have a decent view distance. Great map control. I want to try to stealth in for the max bonus damage from the ability to kill Dane quickly and then teleport out, but the teleportability interface for the unit will not allow this with any ease. In the heat of a battle, the lack of being able to hotkey up multiple units at a time is extremely inconvenient, to say the least. It's honestly not even worth doing, because depending on what exactly you're doing with the stances, you would first have to change stances, then individually select your blades, then hit the teleport button, and then select the location to teleport to for each of the blades. And the blades start auto-targeting the enemies you want them to run away from. It's just too much. It's not to say that even in its current state that there are no opportunities to use teleport in a battle. If you're just using a single blade, you can get away from an unintended battle with relative ease. Just keep that finger on the stealth hotkey. Teleport doesn't offer the greatest range. You can see I botched the stealth, but I barely got him away. You can also teleport in combination with the mirages to distract the enemy. You have to be in aggressive stance though, so your 3 hotkeys will be D to get into aggressive stance, V to use the teleport ability, and T to use the mirages, like this. Mirages can also be a great way to lure enemies away from the blades to make target areas more vulnerable for them to go in and wreck. What's more, mirages can distract enemies in the heat of a straight-up battle. Now normally the blades don't do well in a battle, but I'll show you at the end of this video how you can make them fare pretty well in one if you want to. It's there I'll show you how best to use mirages in such a situation, so more on this later. Otherwise, mirages can be used as free sources of spying and temporary map control. And like Baruthiel's cats, the mirages also don't cost CP. They actually have a bit of health to them, so you can go past arrow towers and enemies at least a little bit and take some damage. They also last a while.
Invaders! Take a bow! I can see the enemy clear as day.
A tip about the mirages. Mirages look exactly the same as real Hasharin Blades, of course, but if you want to know which is the real one, just click on the enemy mirage and you'll see it has the timer in the portrait. You might not always be able to see the real blade, but at least you won't be chasing phantoms either. And depending on the circumstances, there may be an opening available where you can even teleport over a battle to a critical target who thinks himself safe. Give him a nice little surprise. Luckily, there are alternative ways of fighting. Instead, what you might try doing is using their knife throw ability. It actually has quite a good range. It can potentially draw out your target if your human enemy isn't paying attention, because heroes have a wide targeting range, so have a tendency to go where the damage is coming from. And as you can see, you can buff out the blades. More on this in a second. So you just saw that all 5 Hasharin Blades that you can have can severely deplete the health of even a top hero with their knife throws back to back. But consider that there are many buffs available to the Haradwaith faction to buff out those knives even more. Can a top hero be killed by what amounts to a one-shot? Let's see. Given the range these knives have, these blades can be very scary in the right hands against your heroes. Beware! It should be noted that their stealth ability does not add damage to their knife throws, only to their melee attacks. So let's take a look at that now. Fully buffed Hasharin Blades work wonders against unguarded fortresses. Knives can also be used on flying units, so even the Witch King and other Nazgul are not safe from these sneaky guys. And to finish off this video, let's see how they can do in a straight up fight on their own with their leader using all buffs and abilities. But first, we'll look at how they perform if you don't utilize buffs or their leader, and maybe use just one ability to really appreciate what they can do later.
What is it you desire? What is it you desire? What does it do?
Not very impressive, though they did get King Dane to their credit. They're clearly designed to focus down specific targets and flee for the most part. But if you did want to go in guns blazing against a small force, what would happen?
What is like bidding, Sigurd? The Great Ones. With you.
Notice I'm taking my time to also hotkey up each individual blade for efficiency. Then I make sure to have them in guard mode so their ability lists include the throwing knife. I take another moment to make sure I make all the mirages I can. Like I mentioned earlier, mirages are an excellent way to confuse their auto-targeting, forcing them to hit the wrong targets, or, if it's a human player, to micro a lot to hit the right ones. Notice I do not use stealth or teleport into the midst of the troops. I want to make sure none of my blades get surrounded, which would cause flanking damage. What's more though, double-clicking on even a real blade and not a mirage would cause all of them, including the mirages, to be selected at once, which would disable ability usage because the fake units are in the mix. I also did not use the smoke bombs because in melee range, that would just be a waste. The enemy can still auto-target me at such a range. I find it interesting that even the mirages can auto-heal.
What is it you desire? All must serve. What does your rule command?
Now to wait for the mirages to disappear, and... we see all 5 blades survived. A pretty good victory, I'd say, for just 5 units and an early game hero. They could easily go to the next fight or take out a fortress now. So as you can see, Hasharin Blades are a dangerous, multifaceted unit adaptable to many situations and strategies. Using some of the most obscure abilities in BFME, the disguise and teleport abilities, in conjunction with some all-new and original ones, Combined with traditional stealth, and the Hasharin Blades in the right hands can give even vanilla Thranduil a run for his money as the MVP unit of stealth in all BFME. Overall, I hope that the info provided in this video has whetted your appetite to maybe try a little something new or different with custom heroes or the blades that you may otherwise have been too trepidatious to try to figure out on your own. Take some practice with the blades especially, but you will be well rewarded.